Good morning, everybody, and welcome here to Pocono Raceways. We have a busy day of racing coming up here on the channel. We got the Red Bull GT Series race coming up this afternoon at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time here on the Blue Hedgehog TV. But first, we got some go home qualifying business to take care of for race number 9 of the WRA Oreo Cup Series. As Remy Crampton is the first car on track, 15 minutes on the clock. See who will start on the pole for tomorrow's race. For the Oreo Cup Series, as we're looking at Remy Crampton. Not had the season she would have liked, 41st in the points. She has failed to qualify ever since race number 4. She's failed to qualify from race 4 onward. So it's not been a very good season for the driver out of the Colleague Racing team. And she would like to change that here this week. She is the first driver that has taken time. Betty Johnson in front of her back in the 50 this week for 2311 Racing. Of course, there is another 2311 car, except it's called Red Dragon Racing. That would be the 18 and the 67. As Remy Crampton just needs to find something to go right for this 13 team. This is the first time we have the Oreo Cup Series and the Red Bull GT Series on the same weekend, which is nice. Hopefully, we'll have some double headers like this in the near future. 56-311 for on the board. Morgan Henderson made her debut last week at Sonoma. This is a new driver of the 55, actually a brand new driver that Tricon Garage signed, which I need to actually look up the driver's name. It's Regina Walsh. She is from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Currently, she is one of Hannah Blue Jays' roommates. Hannah Blue Jay recommended in this series. She is driving the number 55 Toyota Tricon Garage. Regina Walsh had quite some time, and now she's going to have her chance. By the way, speaking of Hannah Blue Jay, she will be in this ride next week, or in 2 weeks rather, because remember, we will not have go or go home qualifying because we will have Liliana Beta only when we head to Germany next week. That's going to be a lot of fun. And at the time, it'll be an 11 standard time race. I can't wait to go to Germany. There won't be any go or go home qualifying drivers other than Liliana Beta, who will be making her debut because there's only going to be 37 entries, so they will just show up and race. Carmen Alejandra, there's Cheyenne Berkshire. Berkshire's made 2 consecutive races in a row. And she's only 53rd in the points. Scarlett Wallace there. Jessica Shelton, who's been really struggling trying to make races, 55-202. Carolina Bradley, 55-586. Early 20th quickest. Ari Springer in the 49 this week. Callie Springer will be back in that ride in 2 weeks. Right in front of her is Desiree Voiles, trying to make her second start of the year. GOGH Racing, trying to make his fourth on the season. Isaac Willis, right in front of him is Ingrid Pollard, back in the 88 this week. It'll be a lot of fun to see Ingrid Pollard in the 88. Donovan Dixon, Leo Hill, a couple of drivers who've been really having some struggles. 78 failed to qualify for Homestead, dropped down to 32nd in points. Donovan Dixon dropped a spot down to 46th in the standings. There's Gene Evans. Gene Evans in points. Of course, he's not eligible to compete for the championship, sadly, but he's made 2 starts. He's up to 45th in the points table. Kaylee Rankin right behind Sam Tenley. Sam Tenley at the beginning of the season raced the first 2 races, then failed to qualify, and then last week made his 3rd start on the year at Homestead. Kaylee Rankin dropped down to 47th in the points. Eric Monaco trying to avoid his second DAQ in a row. He missed his second race, dropped 6 spots down to 17th in the points. And I believe even if he fails to qualify for this week, he will continue to free fall through the points. As Remy Crampton is coming to pit road, he'll continue to free fall through the points, which is not good, as Geisha Racing is now the quickest car in the 81 machine. There he is. The car owner, Daniel Voiles, is now second quick. There he is in the 53 machine. Daniel Voiles made Loudon, qualified on the front row, only scored 3 points doing so. After he had a mechanical problem, never recovered, and ended up finishing really poorly. He redeemed himself this week by making the show here at Pocono. Look at our motorsports calendar, what we got coming up this afternoon. Some of the drivers like Skylar Taylor, who's watching this session. Of course, we have the Red Bull GT Series drivers ready to go racing at Pocono. That'll be a 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, as they are back after they took an off week last week. And then tomorrow, the Oreo Cup Series will go racing here at Pocono Raceway. Now, 2 will be a 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, as we have given you the motorsports calendar. And then next week, we head to Charlotte for the Red Bull GT Series. That will be a 7:30, or no, I was correct the first time. 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time from Charlotte. And then we're in Germany for our only race, besides Canada, our first of a couple of races outside the United States, our only visit to Europe, as we head to Germany for the Oreo Cup Series. Looking forward to that. That'll be our 10th race on the season, our second road course race. Of course, we already ran a road course race a couple of weeks ago at Sonoma. Now we're going to go international racing for the first time of 2. Hope you'll join us for those racing as you look at Morgan Henderson for Red Dragon Racing. And for Miss Walsh here, Regina Walsh, she will also be running in the K&N All-American Series, which, by the way, I have delayed that series to March. So there will be a few mix of Buffalo Wild Wings, Truck Series, and a few drivers we're not used to seeing, like Regina Walsh. Of course, Regina currently 19 years old, from Hamilton, Ontario. That's not too far away from Toronto. So you can say another Canadian driver, except this is a very unknown Canadian driver. She is currently a free agent, believe it or not. Because if I recall correctly, nobody has signed her for for any team that I know of. Gene Evans currently 8th quickest. Let's pull up the ticker here. Right now, as it stands, drivers who would make this week's race, as things stand, would be GOGH Racing, Daniel Voiles, Remy Crampton, Betty Johnson, Ari Springer, and Leo Hill would have the final transfer spot. Don't worry, the 88 will be entered next week at Germany, which that will be cool. Of course, Ingrid Pollard running this car this week. Ingrid Pollard will be back in the car for the race at Michigan in 2 weeks. And Callie will also attempt Michigan in 2 weeks' time. So we will not see most of these Oreo homers until Michigan. Drivers showing up for Germany, so that means Eric Monaco, regardless, will miss his 3rd race in a row, which is a tough break for him. But to be honest with you, he's not running for the championship since he's already starting to miss races, and looks like he's going to miss another race this week. As where is the 44? He is 12th quickest. So unless he gets a faster lap time that could beat a 54.738, Eric Monaco for the 2nd week in a row will fail to qualify and will continue to drop through the points. Actually, it'll be 3 races in a row if you count Germany, because Germany is only going to have 37 drivers. And since the 88 was already going to be on the entry list, that means the 88 would already be locked in the show as far as that's concerned, despite the 88 not having owner points to save them, as GOGH Racing goes slower than his lap time, currently the fastest at a 54.629 out of Daniel Voiles Racing. Ironically, Daniel Voiles still fielding this 81 machine. Ingrid Pollard is going to need to find a good lap time. Leo Hill right behind Donovan Dixon. He is on the bubble, by the way, Leo Hill. Donovan Dixon would be the driver who would go home, as he is currently 19th quickest, and he needs to have a good lap time or he will have to go home, which is a tough break for him. So the big question is, we're going to series drivers, what have they learned from watching Go or Go Home qualifying, and how for this week's race? I can tell you Isaac Willis is going to be one of those drivers trying to do double duty. Of course, he will not make it, but he probably learned something that's going to help him here. Of course, the track 8 degrees, almost 100. Track temperature is right around 110, 120 degrees, so the track's getting slicker and slicker. As GOGH Racing is pulling in the pits, I think that would be his session done. He will make this week's race. Kayla Rankin, I don't think she's going to have enough time to get back out on the track, so that's a tough break for her. If you're not on a fast lap, you need to be on track. Time is up. Hot laps are going to count. Basically, your last chance to improve your time. Daniel Voiles did not improve his time. 13 in the 50 tie, but here's the catch. They're already in the transfer spot. Voiles will make a second start. Hopefully, he'll redeem himself after the struggles at Loudon, which I bet you he will be excited. Remy Crampton, Betty Johnson, Ari Springer will make her debut in the Oreo Cup Series, and Leo Hill, after failing to qualify last week's race at Homestead, got the final transfer spot. Unfortunately, the drivers who will not make this show this week will be Ingrid Pollard. We will see the 88 next week in Germany with Liliana Beta to make up her little blunder from Loudon a couple of weeks ago. Also failing to qualify this week are Gene Evans, Carmen Alejandro, Carolina Bradley, who, by the way, was announced will be going full-time in the Red Bull GT Series next season. Cheyenne Berkshire, Eric Monaco, Isaac Willis, Jessica Shelton, Desiree Voiles, Sam Tenley, Kaylee Rankin, Morgan Henderson, Donovan Dixon, Regina Walsh. We will see her in the All-American Series later this year. And Scarlett Wallace. Those drivers right here will not make this week's race and will have to try again at their next one. That will be in 2 weeks at Michigan because, as I said, the 88 will race in Germany next week. But that's going to do it from here at Pocono for Go or Go Home qualifying. If you enjoyed this Go or Go Home qualifying session for the Oreo Cup Series, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to become part of the PCSRA and WRA crew today. We'll see you guys this afternoon at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for the Red Bull GT Series race. Until then, I've been the Blue Hedgehog signing off as you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of PCSRA and the WRA TV, the greatest racing since 2013, and celebrating 15 years as the best center racing around the world since 2017.